John Arryn then called his banners to
So
war.
the after the death of the two Starks in King's Landing, and then the demand for the head of Ned and then Robert drove Robert to lead the 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 Roberts Rebellion, because that's the name of the
Yes,
rebellion.
yes. That's another thing that people will always ask because
Ask why
the rebellion didn't even concern Robert
Robert,
at the
it started with
beginning.
the Starks to
The
begin
Stark,
with.
yes. But then I remind you that Robert was betrothed to Lyanna Stark.
Okay.
So, and also Brandon Stark also went because he was blaming Rhaegar Targaryen for kidnapping his
Lyanna
sister.
Stark.
So you know this also involves Lyanna, and Lyanna has also been missing.
Yes.
So the betrothed of
Robert.
Robert. So Robert also wants his betrothed, right? So okay, so this one like we know that Robert was also linked to that part because he wants his wife. He wants to marry his betrothed. Yes. So yeah.
That's where
Because all of them, it was Robert who was very, very angry because he was very pissed because you, Rhaegar, you have a wife, you have a children, and then you still want to come and pick up someone's betrothed. It's not like Robert was also a good person or anything. He had bastards at the beginning of his years.
But then in Game of Thrones, it's depicted as though Lyanna actually liked Rhaegar.
Yes, that's another point. So,
So you take me from after the demand of the heads and then the start of the rebellion.
Okay, so once this one happened, Jon Arryn is the first one who called his banners to war because at that time Robert is there. Robert is the Lord. He's supposed to be the Lord of Storm's End. He's the Lord. He's the warden of the Storm's Land, but he's not there. He is at the Vale with Ned. So before he can also gather his strength, he has to first go to where to his place so that he can also call his banners to war.
And was his brother Stannis there?
Yes, his brother was also there. Brother there and Renly was also there because like his parents also died.
But wait, I don't want to cut it short. So you see, right now you made mention of two main religions: the seven,
Yeah, the seven, the
and then the old gods. But then in Game of Thrones, we get to see the Baratheons believing in the Lord of the Fire.
No. It was Stannis.
It was just Stannis.
It was Stannis.
Not the entire Baratheon house. It was just Stannis.
Yes.
Okay.
It was Stannis. Even Stannis also got to know her, I believe, from her wife. Because at that time when he was Dragon Stone is when she encountered that lady. Okay. So they don't show this in the show or the series. But in the books, when Stannis took Storm's End, which is his family seat, he burnt the Goswood, which is where the weirwood tree is, where the old god, the face which represent the old gods is. He burnt it in service of the flame. Yeah, so he was uprooting every other god so that he can gain the favor of the Fire Lord or the Lord of the Fire. So yeah, so he was just uprooting those things. That's what just happened. That the Baratheon was serving the Fate of the Seven. But as I said, because everything I said that at that time, most of the weirwood tree were spread across Westeros. It's because of the Fate of the Seven that they were like uprooting all those trees. But there are still some at most places in Westeros.
Okay.
Yeah. So Robert and all those, the religion aside, Robert had to go and go to his home to gather strength. Even though he was also young, he was still strong. Yeah, people refer him to as a beast. That's how he got the name the Demon of the Tribe because he was very, very strong and huge. Yeah. It's not like the Robert we knew from the show.
Who was a drunk.
Yes. So a lot of people, term Robert as someone who is meant to war, who is meant for war, not meant to rule. Because he's a soldier. Once he's sitting there idly, he can't do anything. Yes. So Robert also went to his place, but then that's where the fighting began because the people around the Vale, not everyone wanted to listen to Jon Arryn because when it comes to war, you need to pick the good choice of the better side. And the war had just begun, right? And one thing about the oath, and one thing I like about Jaime Lannister about his scene with Catelyn, Henry was saying that they make us swear a lot. They make us swear oath this, oath that. So the fact that when we are upholding one oath, we break another. You see how this thing works. So Jaime Lannister is one of my favorite characters because of how his mentality works. Because the people in the Seven Kingdoms are sworn to the Targaryens, and the same they are sworn to their liege laws as well. When it comes to war, who are they supposed to listen? Their liege laws or their kings?
Their kings.
But in this situation, we believe the majority will listen to their liege lord because the Targaryens were outsiders.
Yes.
They came from somewhere to conquer us. Most of them submitted to Jon Arryn's cause, but some also would fight and all. But then Robert made it past them, and then he went to his home. Ned Stark also had to, travel to Winterfell to also call his banners. This thing makes me very happy because one thing that makes me excited is how with the North, there was no
division.
There was no division. Immediately he called for war. Everyone came.
Everyone came.
But with Robert, he had his own people fighting against him. So he fought 3 battles in one day.
Three battles in one day.
Robert, the moment when he got there to his home and he called his people for war, some people were like, nah, they won't come. And Robert said, like, Mula. So he went to face them. So Robert gathered his army and went to face them. He faced one, he defeated them. And he captured one of as prisoner. And he went and second battle, he defeated them. And third, he defeated them. So one day, 3 battles, he won everything.
Wow.
So yeah, so the people were starting to believe in him. And we gathered a lot of strength. At that time, too, the Vale, the Reach, the South people also gathered their strength because one of the people who were very, very like loyal to the crown were the Tyrells. They are in the South. They are the one who gathered strength against Robert.
Okay.
So the Lord Randall Tully and the Mandel Tyrell, they also gathered their army to go and face Robert. That is the only battle that Robert lost. So Robert went to face Tyrell. Like, he didn't really think far because they are coming with a lot of strength. But you have fought three battles in one day. You have to relax.
Yes.
So Robert doesn't really want to, back down. So he went to face them and then he lost that battle. But he escaped. And he went to hide in one of the cities, cities somewhere, yes. And that people turned their attention to Storm's End. So if you remember in Game of Thrones, Stannis mostly make mention of how he defended Storm's End.
Yeah.
Because he defended Storm's End with 500 men against the thousands of the Reach.
500 men.
Oh yeah, Storm's End is the name Storm's End comes with how you can't really break it with storm. The tale goes back to Gauls. When let me just a short recap. One person married the daughter of a god, and the god was not really happy about it. Then he started bringing storm to destroy his castle one by one. But then when he built the Storm's End, that castle was the only castle that was able to withstand the storm. So yeah, they named it Storm's End because it was filled with magic and everything.
Oh, wow.
So Storm's End is a very powerful castle. So once you have this 500, you can defend it. But the only problem is starvation.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what brings Devos in the story.
Say Devos.
Because Devos was the one who came to liberate them. He didn't come to liberate them in total, but he came to give them onions for them to have food and other kind of food. That's what termed him the Onion Knight. Because it's through that act that made Stannis 19. But then at the same time, he also removed his fingers. He also cut his fingers as a smuggler. That's one thing about Stannis, because even though you are good, you are also punishing for the wrong thing you did. So even though he saved Stannis from not eating his people, because it got to a time where there were fears that they might have to eat human beings to survive. It's also at that time that Devos came in with his onions and other food, and they were able to get food. But after the war,
that makes sense now. How the Devos has lost his fingers.
So Stannis rewarded him by knighting him, giving him some lands and everything. At the same time, punished him for being a smuggler once. So you see how this whole thing went. So yeah, so it was up to Ned Stark that Robert came back into the game. Because Robert was still trapped in that place where some loyalists were still searching for him. And it was Ned who came in with his army and came and joined the fight. So they said that the people were hiding Robert. The people in that place were hiding Robert. Like, he was hiding in one of the taverns or somewhere because the people loved Robert. They admired Robert. So when
the king was already going mad.
So when Ned Stark came and joined, and Robert was still, they said that Robert was drunk or was bedding someone. When Robert heard that there was fighting going outside, he just got out there and started fighting. So when Robert got out, he started fighting, he joined the war. He didn't even know what was going on. But when he heard fighting, he went out and joined the fight. And they won that battle. Then that goes to another place where they rejoin their strength. That leads to the Battle of the Trident. So you've heard of the Battle of the Trident?
Yes, I've heard of it. But I have no idea of what's really happened there.
But obviously, I'm not really mentioning Lyanna Stark. I know what I'm saying.
Yes.
At this all time, this time, listen, the war went on for a year or something. This time that I'm mentioning, Lyanna Stark and Rhaegar Targaryen was at the tower somewhere having their sexual life. They were doing
Best
this
life.
thing.
So
Your brothers, you Lyanna Stark. Sometimes I'm
didn't she
saying that.
get wind that her brothers are looking for her? That one of your brothers has been killed, your father has been killed because they are searching for you.
No, I don't really understand these kind of people because both Rhaegar Targaryen and Rhaegar, you have a wife and children. No, you didn't really care about them. You brought three Kingsguard. I don't know if it was just some story. You brought one of the finest knights in the Seven Kingdoms. Is what is the name? Oh, Atadine. I don't know if you heard the name.
Yeah, I heard
Atadine. Who's nicknamed the Sword of the Morning or something? Because he wears the Valerian sword called, like, I don't know if it's Dawn or something. You have Robert Atadine and one George Hightower or something. And three Kingsguard. Three of the most formidable Kingsguard in the seven. You brought them to the Tower of Joy with you to guard you. While your king, your father was guarded by the rest of the Kingsguard. But at that time, you see that Jaime Lannister was a Kingsguard, the youngest Kingsguard, 16 years or something.
16.
He was in the city. And then Rhaegar Targaryen was in there with his Kingsguard and he was bedding. They say the tower was nameless, I think. And because of what they were doing there, they named the tower Tower of Joy. So that's how they got this
joy there.
So they were having like every single day. Like they didn't even concern themselves with what was happening. Because you, Lyanna Stark, you were betrothed to Robert. You didn't even know what Robert was doing. And you didn't even concern yourself with what your parents would feel. So I didn't really enjoy their people. Some people say that they are cute and people will be saying how their relationship is cool. But then it's utter bullshit for me. Like I don't really like it at all. Because they too started the war.
Yeah.
Because of their stupidity. I don't really like stupid people. So when it comes to you making
that is very clear. I know you don't like stupid.
So it was after that plan, did they call Rhaegar to come because the war was getting serious. Because at that time, the king was like, this rebellion will be over in a short moment. But then the war was getting on and on. It was like, nah. So he summoned Rhaegar. Come. So that's when Rhaegar came. Rhaegar came, and then
another. I think Rhaegar too was a fine fighter. Warrior.
He was trained by Atadine, one of the finest knights in history, which I believe is a bit incomplete because his feet are really little. The Atadine, their feet are very little. He defeated the Smiling Knight and something. But then, I don't even know a lot of his feats. But then, he is termed as the finest knight. Ned Stark also termed him as the finest knight he have ever faced. Yeah. So that's when Rhaegar came to the capital to also gather another strong army. They also brought the Dornish into it because they used Rhaegar's marriage with that Dornish princess to bring the Dornish back. Even though Rhaegar has abandoned his wife to go and bed another lady.
Yes.
And so they gathered a strong army, which was, I don't know the numbers, but if they had 40,000, Robert had 35. So yeah, they had more, even though it was not really much. But it was still, they had plenty than the Robert's own. So they gathered a lot of strength, and then the Kingsguard over there went with them. So it was left with only Jaime Lannister to guard the king. If you understand.
Yeah.
Jaime Lannister wanted to also go with them, but then they were like, he's too young, he should stay and protect the king and everything. Yeah, so they left him there, and then they went.
They didn't know what was coming.
And they went, and that's why Rhaegar was dumb, because you left three Kingsguard with Lyanna Stark. Three fine Kingsguard. The Lord Commander is even part.
You just left the youngest Kingsguard ever with your father.
I'm not even concerned about that part, but the war, the battle that you're going to fight, it was fought without the three finest Kingsguard there ever was. So yes, and even the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard was not even present. He was guarding Lyanna Stark along with two other knights. So three Kingsguard were guarding Lyanna Stark, all because Rhaegar felt that, the prophecy, like he's going to give birth to. So that makes Jon Snow very special. Spoiler if no one knows who I'm talking about. But then, because he believed that he has to bring the prophecy true, because I believe he thought of the ice and fire. Everything. Ice and fire to ice for Stark.
Winter.
Ice is for Stark and fire is for Targaryen. So he saw the connection with Lyanna Stark and had to bring to him. So perhaps, just perhaps,
he thought he was bringing Yes, then in a
seriously be
way,
someone who might do something in the future.
but in a way, yes, it turns out that Jon Snow actually did
Yes,
that.
yes. But then even if it comes out as true, he didn't use the correct method.
Yes.
He didn't go through the correct path to do it because he could have discussed it with them because they not also have this knowledge of the darkness.
The darkness.
So they're not even seem to be too superstitious. So if you tell them like this, if you tell them something like this, they will be, say, okay, then they might even agree. But they didn't tell them you just kidnapped one of their daughters. So people thought that kidnapped, but then I literally and Stark willingly went with him.
Okay.
Yeah. So you left them there and you went. So another thing I wanted to talk about in the previous video was how the Targaryens didn't really discuss the Song of Ice and Fire with the Starks. Because the Starks are the ones who are closest to the wall. And this secret, they passed from Targaryen king to Targaryen king. But you didn't see it as good to pass it to the kings of winter, to the Lord of Winterfell. Because the Lord of Winterfell is the one who's going to face this threat when it comes. So I don't really understand why they didn't feel the need to discuss it with Winterfell. Even though they might have, I don't know. So yeah, so that's where the battle went on. Because Rhaegar Targaryen then gathered his host and went to confront Robert. So the whole thing was being termed as Robert's rebellion because Robert was the one who was very, very, hyped.
Yes,
because he has also won the battle.
It.
Yes.
And then most of his victories were 3 battles in a day and all.
So people were hyping him as, yes, Robert.
That's why we get to see the part where Ned comes to the Tower of Joy.
Yes.
To fight Atadine and all.
Actually, in that show, there were 2, but there were 3.
Yeah.
There were actually 3 in the book.
When he actually goes up, he comes to say, Rhaegar has raped his sister, not knowing they were having the best time of their life.
I believe Ned will be aware that they were just having it because, like, Rhaegar was there, guarded by the King's Guard, and then he was concerned. He was like, promise that you save him or protect him or something. I don't know the last words. Either Ned also took it as he had no choice. She had no choice. He had been raped, and she was only concerned about her child. I don't know how, but then perhaps they spoke more according to what we say. So.
Okay, and then Jon Snow comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So before we wrap this up, okay, Daenerys Targaryen at the time was in King's Landing.
At that time, I don't think she had been born at that time. Because the whole war.
So, because we come to know of the fact that in Game of Thrones, when Robert is king, Daenerys is already on the other side.
Yes.
She gets it.
Yes.
And then we know that she's the last child of the Mad King.
It was him and Viserys.
Yes.
I think Viserys, yes.
Yes. Daenerys and then Viserys, yes. One stupid. Yes. Daenerys is actually the youngest because Viserys is older than, so she's the last child. So, were they born and how, do you have any idea how they were able to escape King's Landing?
Okay.
Because none of that is made clear in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Do you get it?
Yes. Then let me just finalize this battle before I get there. Because so Rhaegar brought his army to the Trident and Robert Stark, when they were crossing the river, Robert said, nah, wallahi, I'm going to meet this guy. And then he went to confront him in that river. So so they went to confront them. Like, so when they were crossing the river, they just went to bash them. So that's when the battle began. They were fighting. And then, like, Robert was like, where's that guy? And then he saw Rhaegar. He went to Rhaegar and he said, like, Rhaegar, you are mine. So that's when they fought. And Rhaegar was able to injure Robert. And then Robert was able to struck his breastplate. That made the rubies fell down. That's why the people call that place the rubies, the Battle of the Rubies or the River of the Rubies or something. Rubies, something about rubies. Because his breastplate was made of rubies. Something rubies was made of.
Okay.
So when he uses his hammer to hit there, he instantly killed Rhaegar. So when Rhaegar fell, the royal soldiers were in disarray. They were just scattered, and then Robert completely won the war. At this time, too, Tywin Lannister has been neutral since day one. So he hadn't chosen a side. So when he heard that Robert has defeated Rhaegar, he now headed to King's Landing with his army. And when he got there, he told his friend, because obviously he was once the hand of the king to Targaryen, because they were friends when they were children.
Okay.
Yes. There this feature I saw, it was Sir Duncan was there with the king, King Aegon, and then Tywin Lannister was a cupbearer there. So they've met before. Like, yeah, it was very interesting. So they were friends when they were there.
So Sir Duncan and Egg.
Yeah.
So Egg's son is the Mad King.
Yes, Egg's son is the Mad King. Egg also died some brutal death, which remind me to talk about the next time we speak.
Okay.
Yeah, so they were friends. They were friends when they were children. So Tywin said that, let me in and I'll defend the city for you because you've sent all your army to fight the Robert, and they've been defeated. So they've started, and Robert is now coming. So let me in and then I'll defend you.
Okay.
And Varys was so convinced. I think it was rather Pycelle. Pycelle is for the Lannisters. Hope you remember. They are friends of the Lannisters.
Yes.
He's friends with the Lannisters. And Pycelle, I believe, convinced the Mad King to open the gates. Or Tywin is a friend to the crown. And the Mad King also said, let's open the gates. So the moment they opened the gates, Tywin sacked the city. And they were scattering, they were raping, they were killing. So they scattered the city. But then the Red Keep is also a castle on its own. So they didn't storm the Red Keep. They just took over. I believe some went in afterwards. But at that time, Rhaegar, the king was still there. They haven't been sacked yet. Yes. That's what brought the whole iconic scene of Jaime Lannister killing. But then before that, let me bring Jaime's perspective to it too, because Jaime Lannister always points out about the fact that he was the only one to defend the king. And then he said, I think he actually defended him because he killed some other soldiers or something. If what I heard was true, he killed some of the soldiers who were trying to come in to defend the king.
Okay.
But then the king was so mad that he also tried to burn the city. He told his pyromancers to put wildfire across the realm to burn the city when he falls or something. So that Robert will not come to meet any city.
Any city.
So like if you are losing, we are all losing. Yes. So and also he also told Jaime Lannister to go and bring him his father's head. And that guy was too crazy.
Yeah, because
and then,
who in their right minds would do that?
He was the only king's guard there. So Jaime was like them. And he drew his sword, and then immediately the king saw him, he was about to run away, and then he stabbed him in his back. So when the king fell down, he went there and slit his throat. And when he was done, he went to sit on the Iron Throne. So that when the time went on, the Lannisters came to meet him there, and they saw Jaime Lannister sitting on the throne. There's some people who say that people were suggesting for Jaime Lannister to claim the Iron Throne. Because at that
would
time...
have been wild. But...
because at that time, you have the city.
Yes.
The Lannister army is also there. Once you close the gates, because the gates was not barged in, you didn't break the gates. They opened the gates for you. So once you lock the gates and claim yourself king, now Robert also has to deal with you first. Jaime Lannister was sitting on the Iron Throne, waiting for who came. At that time, too, Robert was also injured because of his battle with his fight with Rhaegar.
Yeah.
So he couldn't really come to King's Landing. That's why he sent Ned to be the one to come to King's Landing. So Ned became rushed because he knew that once the battle is won, it hasn't really been won yet because you have to first secure the Iron Throne. So Ned was very quick. He went fast to King's Landing with his army. He gathered his army when he left, Robert to the Maesters to treat him. I didn't really master this, like, Barristan the Bold was also part of Rhaegar's troops.
Okay.
And he was also injured. But then Robert saw that this guy is brave.
He's brave.
So he made his own Maesters also treat him. So that he will also serve him when he's king. When Ned got there and he got to the Red Keep, he saw that Lannisters have scattered the city. But Lannister didn't fight him. They simply watched him go. So when Robert goes, Ned was on a horse when he entered the throne room. So he went to meet Jaime Lannister sitting on Iron Throne, and he walked to them and made him stand there from the throne. Yeah, so another iconic scene between Jaime Lannister and Ned Stark, how they are they were clashing and everything. So that's where it went. So when Robert also came to the city, I forgot about this part. So remember that Rhaegar has a wife and children.
Yes.
Jaime Lannister ordered his 2 brute soldiers, the Mountain and another one, to scale the wall of the Red Keep to go and kill Rhaegar's wife and children. So when they went there, they didn't only kill him. They first raped Rhaegar's wife. They raped her bloody and then killed her and then killed her children. Rhaegar Targaryen gave all the security, gave 3 King's Guard to Lyanna Stark, but he didn't even preserve the special guard.
I think that is so way too. That is why
Oberyn Martell.
Aubrey Martell had this altercation
yeah.
with the Mount.
Yes.
Yes. It makes sense now.
Yeah. But
Yes.
they tried to keep it under wraps because
They didn't
want
delve
to.
much
Yes.
into it.
Because you see,
Okay.
the Dornish was on the side of the Mad King when this one happened. So
And
once the Lannisters killed the children, and when Robert came, Tywin presented the children to him, to Robert on the Lannister cloak. And that gift, like I'm giving to you as gift so that you remember me once you are king. But Ned Stark was furious because Ned Stark is all this honorable man of honor kind of shit. So then
I'm sure that is why even after the entire battle, Ned went back to the north to mind his business.
After that, it's because of that confrontation that Ned Stark, I think, Robert sent Ned away to go and lift the siege of Storm's End. I think if what I've read was accurate, if what I've heard was accurate, Robert told Ned to go away so that he can go and save his brother because his brother was still at this time. They were still under siege. Stannis was still under siege. So Ned went there to liberate them because he was still angry because Robert didn't really care about the children who have been killed. He was like, these are just dragon spawns. Yes, so he went to liberate the Storm's End, and then the Tyrells also backed away. Yes. So the whole thing went on, and then it was till that time that he sent Stannis to go and kill the remaining Targaryens on Dragonstone. So Robert then assigned Stannis for that task, and Stannis gathered his ships and went there to Dragonstone. So he went to assault Dragonstone, and then at that time, I believe in that moment that Daenerys was born. So some people might ask why Daenerys was called Stormborn. So you've heard that Daenerys is called Daenerys Stormborn.
Daenerys Stormborn.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
No.
It's because he was born during one of the wildest storms in the Westeros history.
Okay.
Because there was a massive storm that even destroyed some of the Targaryen fleet. So at that time is when Daenerys was born, and then her mother also died. So it is during that time where Stannis was also going to attack Dragonstone, and he invaded them, and then he even took the castle. At that time, one of the kings got to
smuggle
the Viserys and
Daenerys
and send them away because he was also faithful to his cloak, to his honor, and then he sent them away. So people say that it's because of this failure to kill the remaining Targaryens that Robert told Stannis to, since you couldn't kill the Targaryens, keep it then. Don't come here again. Now keep the Dragonstone. Because you know that the Storm's End, the seat of the Storm's lands, is the high seat is the Storm's End, the seat of the Baratheon.
Yep.
But he gave it to Renly instead of Stannis. You see, Robert is the firstborn, then followed by Stannis. Then Renly is the youngest. Yes. But he gave Storm's End, which is a strong castle, powerful castle, to Renly, the youngest, the last born, and gave Dragonstone to Stannis. People will say that because he failed to kill Daenerys and Viserys. But other people say that the Dragonstone is the seat of the Targaryens, and Robert needed a soldier to hold it because he trusted Renly, Stannis more. And the Targaryens also rule there. They have the Valerians under them, and other people who also from the Valerian people there. Yeah, so once you have a Baratheon ruling over there, you have an eye for the people so that they won't rebel.
Okay.
Yeah, so at that time, Ned also went to the Tower of Joy with his men. They went to face the Atardane, and the people killed them all. That was what happened.
Wow. One last thing. So it becomes quite clear now that after all these things have happened, I'm sure because the role the Lannisters played in presenting the children as gifts made Robert decide to marry Cersei.
That marriage was even because of Jon Arryn. Jon Arryn said that you are a king, but people are not going to really acknowledge you. You need a powerful ally. And what kind of powerful ally at that time can you find? Tywin Lannister, the Lannisters. So he's the one who proposed the marriage between Cersei and Robert.
Okay.
Cersei also wanted to marry Rhaegar when she was little, but then they shunned her, and then he went to marry the Dornish princess. So yeah,
she has always had an eye for the throne.
Oh yeah, when she was little, she wanted Rhaegar, but then so she went to in the season somewhere. She went to confront a witch or something, and the witch told him that she'll be queen and her children would die and those kind of things. Yeah, so she thought that she was going to be true Rhaegar marriage, but then he didn't know that it was because it was through Robert's marriage.
Robert's marriage.
Yeah. So and also one thing that might make you like think much about it is how in the scene, in the latter season, people didn't really like the Lannisters, and it can trace back to when Tywin Lannister sacked the city. So people, there were no love for the Lannisters in the city. That's when there was war. People were even shouting for Stannis, Stannis, Stannis. When Joffrey was king for me,
Yeah.
people were still shouting for Stannis and everything because they still remember that at the last war we fought, the Lannisters are the one who sacked the city, who raped our wives,
Yes.
who killed our children, and all those things. So yeah, so it took Jon Arryn to go to the Dawn to prepare to, mend the relationship with the Dornish people. So actually, it was Jon Arryn who was ruling the kingdom. He was going here and there, and Robert
He was the hand.
Yes, yeah. So the next part
And
we
then,
talk, I'll bring the Greyjoy
After
Rebellion.
his death, Robert called Ned from the north
Yes,
to come and be his hand, and then
yes.
Game of Thrones begins from there.
Yes.
Wow.
Wonderful experience. That I
Wonderful
believe-
experience.
There are a lot of story that they could have made from this, but then, and even in the show, Stannis is like, he admires Ned Stark and something. He hit Ned Stark in the book.
We'll save that for another episode.
So Stannis is really, really
Wow.
rigid.
Yeah. It's a wonderful piece. I mean,
so,
yes.
so this thing is a whole 10 seasons on its own.
Yes,
Robert's Rebellion, because
come on, Game of Thrones alone is like
okay, at least
8.
5 seasons.
I mean, they can give it
at least
three or 4
seasons.
will be fine.
With 20 episodes each. They
Come on,
can.
20 episodes is a lot.
Oh yeah, you have to bring a lot of things. You can bring the Dornish part because Harren Hall.
Because these days,
be
most
three
of these
seasons, 3
series
episodes.
coming out, they don't carry much weight. But then, yes, the story is brilliant. It's fantastic.
And if they say you want to rush, they might skip a lot of interesting parts.
Right.
Then they should bring everything one by one. Because it's a very, very interesting story. Robert's Rebellion was a peak era of the Targaryen dynasty. Because
Wow.
almost 300-year-long dynasty. bro.
Dynasty.
And Robert shattered it with his hammer. Oh, like this matter, you can I say it? There's something.
Say it.
I've heard something about. Do you want spoiler for the House of Dragon currently?
Bro, just give them to
Okay,
me.
so spoilers alert. If you don't want any spoiler for, I don't know if it's a spoiler, but then House of the Dragon spoiler. Just move on. But in this thing that I heard, there was a prophecy of someone with a hammer, like being a king or something,
Okay.
and Hugh Hammer, who was the dragon seed too. He
Hugh.
took the name of Hammer, but
Yes.
he also was having a weapon of hammer.
Hammer, yes.
So the prophecy was spreading. They don't know who brought the. I don't know. Maybe it was a false rumor by Hugh Hammer's followers, but there was something saying that the someone will be king
It's a hammer.
with a hammer, and Hugh Hammer also thought that to be him.
It was him.
So at that time, he declared himself king. So he declared while serving Rhaenyra. So he just shunned and declared himself king. So he went to the green side and declared himself king so that he can be king and remove the Targaryens who were there. So he declared himself king. So yeah. So if the prophecy was true, the prophecy was rather referring to Robert Baratheon, who also shattered the dynasty with what?
Hammer.
The hammer. Oh, child. There are a lot to say. A lot to say. It was a wonderful thing.
Wow.
A lot of things to say. But then, that's for another day.
Yep. So that brings us to the end of Robert's Baratheon. Another thrilling experience down the Game of Thrones universe. And we'll be bringing you more and more of these things, mostly from the books, and then, yes, from the, should I say, from people's perspectives about how the Game of Thrones universe could actually be expanded, because as it is now, it is one of the most, should I say, fantastic universes to explore, because it carries so much weight and there are a lot more beautiful stories to explore in there.
Yeah.
We've seen the original Game of Thrones, we've seen House of the Dragon, which we are still seeing, and then we've seen Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. All these are doing splendid. So imagine what more could be added to this franchise.